So what is the church's biggest problem in 2024? Is it low church attendance? Is it a lack of financial resources? Is it a lack of participation by the church members? Well, some people think maybe it's a shortage of leadership or maybe persecution from the community. Is the biggest problem internal bickering in the church or maybe cultural rot? Is it an aging congregation or a changing neighborhood or a shortage of talent? Some people think that the biggest problem is a lack of commitment by the church members. Maybe it's a shrinking community, or is it competition from other churches or competition even from outside activities? Well, all of these things are problems in various churches, but what's the biggest problem in your church? Well, here's a fact. None of the things that I've listed are your church's biggest problem. These are only symptoms of a problem that's way, way bigger than that. You can have a full church program, but there be no heart and no outreach. You can have lots of church activities that are not fulfilling God's purposes for his kingdom. You can have great sermons that are useless if they're not inspiring people to build the kingdom. You can have great church participation, worship participation, but it's useless if the members aren't allowing God to challenge them. And Bible study, of course, that's God's word, but even that is useless if it's not being actually applied in individuals' lives. Participation in church programs is useless if it's not building the kingdom. So, what then is the biggest problem? Well, the biggest problem is that people just don't accept their ministry responsibility and they're not equipped to do the work of ministry. So just how is that problem solved? Well, there's two parts to this. There's the leadership part and then there's the membership part. The pastor, for the most part, has to focus on equipping the saints for the work of ministry rather than running the organization. Obviously, he is responsible for running the organization, but if the focus is not equipping the saints, then that's a problem that needs to be solved. Well, what about the church members themselves? Well, the church members must get equipped, and that means they have to take responsibility for themselves to get equipped, and then they have to actually go out and do the work of ministry out in the world. In Ephesians 4:11 and 12, the Bible teaches us that the main job of church leaders is equipping. In those two verses it says, "And he, that is Christ, gave some as apostles, some as prophets, some as evangelists, and some as pastors and teachers." And here's the kicker, "for the equipping of the saints for the work of service." That is the purpose. The primary ministers of every church are the church members. The primary job of the pastor is to equip the saints for the work of ministry. If the church will do that, the problem is solved.